Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name is Jimmy, and in today's video we will take a look at the brand new, just introduced Samsung Galaxy Z TriFold. Now in today's video we will take a look at some photos, we'll take a look at the specifications, we'll also see when and where this would be launched. Originally, it wasn't going to launch in the United States, but it will. Now, some of the capabilities of this is its own standalone DeX, so you wouldn't have to connect it to anything else to go into DeX mode. Also, what you have is essentially three 6.5-inch Samsung phones just sitting right there. So you can have three side-by-side applications running at the exact same time, and almost the exact same size as, let's say, a Galaxy S25 Ultra. So let's say what'll happen is when you open this up fully and you have your TriFold fully open, it's like you'll have a phone here, you'll have one right here, and another one right here. Now, when it is fully opened, this is a 10-inch display. So we'll go through all of that today. Even when we scroll down more, there's a few things that I will take a look at here. I'm not going to read the full entire thing. I will place this link below the video inside the description, so this way you can take a look at everything for yourself. But we'll take a look at the most important stuff, especially the availability and when. Also, we'll take a look at some of these specifications. We have all the details of the screen, the cover screen. We have all the information for the dimensions, the weight when it's open, when it's closed, the rear cameras, also the front camera, the main screen camera. We'll talk about the Snapdragon, the internal storage, the RAM, the battery, which is a large battery at 5,600 milliamp hours. So we'll take a look at all of that in today's video. But again, I'll place this link below the video inside the description if you'd like to take a look at it. But here, let's take a look at some of the important stuff. So Samsung just released today the information, December 1st, about the most immersive screen on a phone. Again, this one is the TriFold. And there's some important information when it comes down to the hinge. So how about before we go through all of this, let's take a look at all of the images. So this way you can see exactly what it looks like. So in this way, when we go through some of these and they put in some of these images, then you know exactly what they are talking about. So here is the first image. Now this one's just showing how thin the device is. Now soon we'll go through the thinnest point of this device. So when it is folded open, you'll be able to see how many millimeters this thing is small. Then we have this image here, which shows what it looks like if you're using one full screen of an application. Also, if you're to have two running at the same time. And then also, as I mentioned from before, where you can have three side-by-side displays of 6.5 inches. Now, this image is of the cover screen. So this is not the main display. This is referred to as the cover screen. And you will have a brighter display here on the cover screen when it comes down to nits versus when it comes down to the main display. And then this was what it looks like when it's fully opened. You'll be able to see that the camera cutout is on the very top right-hand side. And now with this image here, it just kind of shows you what it looks like if you wanted to have your phone, look like it has wings. You'll be able to see the middle. You'll be able to see the crease points, the crease on the left, the crease on the right. I also don't know how much of a crease there is until I actually see it in person. Also, when you take a look at it on the top right-hand side where that camera sensor is, that is the one that also houses the camera sensors on the back. So that means that this is the last portion that would be folded in. So what you'll do is you'll fold in the left and then you fold in the right. And you'll be able to see that with this next image here. So when you take a look at this image, this is where you can see it completely open. The camera sensor is on the top right-hand side. If you rotate the phone to match what you can see in the back end, that means that wherever that camera sensor is when it's completely open, that's the same portion of where those three camera modules are. And again, that means that the complete left-hand side is the one that you fold in first. And then this is just another image of the TriFold showing off Galaxy AI. Here is the rear, and I believe this is the only color that we'll have, which is the color of black. This is what it looks like again with the back, the main screen, and then the other one that just basically gets folded in. So let me know in the comment section below if this is something that you guys are interested in, especially if you either knew about this or not knew about this when it comes down to the Galaxy Z TriFold. Is this a type of form factor you're looking for? Maybe you didn't know you're looking for it, but now you have been looking for it because you just saw the images also, as well as the specifications of this device and all the capabilities of what you're able to do. Literally a tablet that is foldable that you're able to put into your pocket that you can use as a phone or a tablet And I mean that literally. Now, if you are enjoying this video so far, or you have learned something new, please consider subscribing. It is free to do. Also, you can like this video, leave a comment, and share this video. It really helps push this video into a better algorithm, so this way it can help and benefit more people, and it also helps support this channel. Now that we know exactly what this device looks like, let's take a look at just a few details in this. I'm going to pick and choose. I'm going to nitpick a few things that I think is very important and the stuff that you need to know as well. Now, when it comes down to the research and design process of the TriFold, they've been doing folding experiences for a decade long. When they take a look at this one, the multi-folding form factor, which uses a inward folding design to protect the main display, the folding mechanism has been precisely engineered for easy opening and closing with an auto alarm alerting the user of incorrect folding through a series of on-screen alerts as well as vibrations. Also, it will be measuring at just 3.99 millimeters at its thinnest point. It is also using a customized Snapdragon 8 Elite mobile platform for Galaxy. It has a 200 megapixel camera, and we'll break down all the rest of them a little bit later on. And also the biggest battery that Samsung has ever put into a foldable phone, which is 5,600 milliamp hours. Now, because this one has a large battery at 5,600 milliamp hours, they also brought in the 45 watt super fast charging for the Galaxy Z TriFold. Now let's talk about the hinges, because it's not just one hinge, we're talking about two hinges. This is a trifold. So you're bringing in the left and then you're bringing in the right. You're not doing a little hamburger or a hot dog thing. You have actually two hinges going at the same time. So what they did, because they've been working with hinges for over a decade, you have two differently sized hinges with dual rail structure. Also, what it does is the hinge structure also allows the screen panels to meet securely with a minimal gap, enabling the device to be thin and portable. And then they talked about the restructured foldable display, because again, this one is introducing a new display technology that's made for 10 inches, and then also the advanced materials on the exterior. So it is a titanium hinge that is being housed, and it's in between a thin piece of metal that protects the folding mechanism and resists wear and tear over time. And then the frame of the device is supported by the advanced armor aluminum and high strength alloy that adds rigidity without increasing bulk. Now, to ensure everything is high quality, it also goes through a CT scan. So it's going through CT scanning for the flexible printed circuit board, which again verifies that it has been correctly manufactured. Then, as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, the Galaxy Z TriFold is the first mobile phone to have standalone Samsung DeX, meaning that you're able to just set it up, full working environment from virtually anywhere, just with that phone. And then going down here, it just talks about Galaxy AI. So it's almost just essentially you're pulling out a foldable tablet from your pocket. You pull out your phone, you can use Galaxy AI on the cover screen, or you can just open it up into a tablet, again, pulling it out of your pocket, and you do a bunch of things like photo assist or generative edit or sketch to image, and you do a bunch of things that are, working together side by side on a larger display. Again, even larger than the Galaxy Fold. Now let's talk about the availability. So the Galaxy Z TriFold is expected to be available for purchase in Korea on December 12th, followed by other markets including China, Taiwan, Singapore, and UAE. And then the Galaxy Z TriFold will be available in the United States in the first quarter of 2026. And then there'll be more details that'll be shared later on. Now, to close out this video, let's take a look at all of the specifications. So for the main display, so this is when it's fully open, it'll be a 10-inch QXGA Plus Dynamic AMOLED 2X display with a peak brightness of 1600 nits, has the 120 Hz adaptive refresh rate, which means 1 through 120. When you take a look at the cover screen, this is a 6.5-inch Full HD Plus. This will also have the peak brightness of 2600 nits, so this is very bright right here. This is what you're used to on a normal phone. This one up here that is 1600 nits for the main display will be a little bit darker than this one right here, so it won't get as bright when it's fully open. Here's all of the dimensions and the weight. You can take a look at it. The weight is 309 grams. Here's all of the camera setups. So here's the rear camera setup first. You'll have a 12 megapixel ultra wide camera, and this will give you a field of view of 120 degree. You also have the 200 megapixel wide angle camera. That'll give you a field of view of 85. And then the telephoto, which is 10 megapixel. And this down over here will let you know that it is a 3x optical zoom, but the digital zoom is up to 30x. And then for the cover screen, which this is going to be when the phone is completely shut, you'll have a 10 megapixel selfie camera with a field of view of 85 degrees. And then the main screen, this is the one when it's fully open, is also a 10 megapixel main camera right there with a field of view of 100 degrees. It will be equipped with the Snapdragon 8 Elite mobile platform for Galaxy, which is based on the 3 nanometer processor. For your RAM and internal storage, you're either going to get the 16 gig of RAM with 1 terabyte or 16 gig of RAM with 512 gigabyte. And again, I think a few of these will depend on where you reside, on which sizes you'll be able to get. And then the battery is 5,600 milliamp hours, and it's a 3-cell battery system. For the charging, as we mentioned from before, it has a super fast charging 2.0, which is 45 watts, and that is the wired charging. Now, when it comes down to durability for the dust-proof and water-resistant, this is IP48, so 4 means dust, 8 is for water. So this is more for if you accidentally get water on it or if it falls into something, you're fine. But it's not really to be around dust or sand or anything like that. So it's based on lab test conditions for submersion in 1.5 millimeter fresh water of up to 30 minutes. Again, keep it away from salt water. Keep it away from the oceans. Here's your glass and metal. So Corning Gorilla Glass Ceramic 2. You also have the back is a ceramic glass fiber reinforced polymer. And then for the frame, it's a titanium hinge housing and advanced armor aluminum frame. It will be launched with Android 16 with Samsung One UI 8. You also have a bunch of different sensors that's on there. So it has a capacitive fingerprint, which means that the fingerprint will be on the side, not on the front of the device. And you also have your Samsung Knox with Samsung Knox Vault. And then for the SIM card, it's up to 2 nano SIM and multi eSIM. And since we're kind of on that, you might be wondering about the micro SD card situation. It was actually listed up over here that I forgot to mention. So when you take a look at the memory and the storage, we're talking about 16 gig of RAM, 1 terabyte of internal storage, or 16 gig of RAM, 512 gig of internal storage. Micro SD card is not supported. And then for the color, it looks like it's just one, and it's called Crafted Black. But hopefully you guys have appreciated this video. If you guys did, give it a big thumbs up. Don't forget to hit subscribe. Subscribe on the very bottom left-hand side. And if you like this video, then more than likely you'll also like this video. And I'll see you guys later.